Hello, my brothers and sisters in Christ. It is a pleasure to be back in front of the camera on YouTube talking to you beautiful people. Life has been pretty hectic recently. I ask that you forgive my most recent absence, but it has not been without fruit. I have many experiences I wish to share with you. Not in this video, although I will be touching on a few of them for the sake of the topic which I like to discuss today, which I'm sure you've seen from the very controversial title of this video, but alas, I will give context, I promise. I've recently been blessed with an experience that I'll never forget. I was invited to Kansas City, Missouri, across the pond from where I live in Humble, Wales, to attend the Ointment Conference, where numerous mental health clinicians, therapists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, as well as clergymen, as well as clergy that were psychotherapists, among other things, all attended to share ideas. There were some talks given on the importance of healing psychologically as well as growing spiritually, why they're interlinked, why it's important to do both. It was all facilitated and run by Father Turbo, who is an absolute blessing to be around and full of wisdom. Our interview is on my channel if you'd care to have a look at that. But anyway, what I got from this conference was reassurance that I was heading in the right direction. And this all came together neatly when I then went to Belgium for a short break, attended a parish in our same archdiocese, and spoke to the priest afterwards. He was telling me some history about his parish, the icons, the church itself, and we got into the subject of what I did for a living. I told him I'm a coach that helps Christians with their mental health, overcoming addictions, achieving their life goals, those sorts of things. And his face lit up. He was so happy to have heard that. And he then began saying how it's so important that there are people doing work like this because priests are not enough anymore. Those were his words. Hence why I'm using it as my video title. What this did for me was confirm a truth that I've known for a while. And whilst I have alluded to it passively on my social media in the past, I've never outright said it because who am I to make such a bold claim? I'm a member of the laity. I'm not clergyman. And I definitely don't want to make a statement that could potentially harm someone spiritually. But what does this mean? Because this is a priest that has been a priest for 35 years, an Orthodox priest. Right? This isn't just a catechumen that read Lives of the Saints and has had some sort of pseudo-revelation. Right? This is real wisdom coming in now. And the reason I agree with what he says is because the Orthodox Church, other churches as well, I guess, other denominations, right? We're all sort of coming from the same branch, even though it's split a few 100,000 times, or however many, whatever. But the Orthodox Church especially, rooted in tradition. The early church fathers had no idea about the extent to which our minds would be poisoned in the modern day. They didn't predict smartphones. They didn't predict adult content accessible in your hands at all times. The extent to which our minds can be corrupted nowadays is far beyond anything anyone expected during those times. This does not mean, however, that their teachings do not apply to the modern day. They very much do. But they're spoken in a way that is difficult to appropriate to our modern language and apply it to our modern day situation. And this is why we're currently in a mental health crisis. These new technological advances have grown exponentially, but the problems that come with them have as well. And the church is not equipped to deal with the mental damage these things have had. Spiritual damage, 100%. Go to your spiritual father, go to church, pray, Bible, all that good stuff. But mentally, it has caused so much fragmentation and dissolution of the mind that vice, passions, cycles of pain are more rampant than ever. And priests are not trained in therapy, conventional therapy, as we would say today. They're not trained in psychology. They're not trained in how to overcome an addiction, right? They can help steer you in the way of Christ and grow in your relationship to Him, which then naturally strengthens you and strengthens your mind to resist temptation and to keep your focus on God. But the only reason you are being so powerfully steered towards that temptation is because your mind is wounded. Trauma is the reason why most people are stuck in behaviors like this. The reason why people spend hours doom scrolling is because their reality is too painful to bear witness to. People would rather doom scroll than pray. So even if your spiritual father gave you an entire prayer rule and gave you this and gave you that, you probably wouldn't implement it because you're too damaged. Obviously, that's a blanket statement. I'm not applying that to everyone. I'm purposely exaggerating to highlight the problem we're facing today because I see so many people stuck in destructive habits. Their marriage is falling apart. They're chronically addicted to substances that are leading them to an early grave. And the only things that they're doing are praying and speaking to their spiritual father for half an hour a week. That's not enough. I'm sorry if that seems blasphemous, but it's not enough anymore. There was a time where that could have been enough, when the entire life force of the civilization was centered around the church, when we didn't have access to the 24-hour news cycle keeping everyone depressed, where we didn't have such hyperconnectivity that we are exposed to trillions of stimuli every minute, which is all contributing to the rewiring of our brains, which then leads into our souls and corrupts it at its core. Psychiatry, therapy, these things have become a thing for a reason. They didn't just appear out of nowhere because someone felt like it one day. We are in a position where this is necessary, and priests are not trained in these sciences. I don't want this to be seen as an advert for my coaching. Don't talk to your spiritual father, come to me instead. Absolutely not. I tell every single one of my clients to speak to their spiritual father as well as doing this work. Heck, tell them about the work that we're doing. I would speak to their spiritual fathers as well, if they so wanted. That was one thing I got from the Kansas City conference, was the importance of that therapist, spiritual father communication. Not everyone is comfortable with that or can facilitate it, but where it's possible, I definitely will. Because whilst healing the mind is of importance, healing the soul is more important. But ultimately, the eyes are the lamp of the soul. What we take into our brains ultimately then leads down into our hearts. St. Gregory Palamas talks about this in such great, beautifully written language. But it's just taken as some abstract, poetic metaphor nowadays, as opposed to a literal symbiotic relationship between mind and soul that needs to be kept in balance. And unfortunately, because of how quickly these problems have all risen, priests are just not equipped to deal with them. They're not. They're very much equipped in being able to guide you spiritually, as I said, but to actually help you heal from the wounds you've experienced in life that are driving you towards these behaviors in the first place, having you confess the same thing week in and week out because you can't break out of the cycle. That's not what they do. If your finger gets cut off, you pray that it heals, but you go to a doctor. You don't ask God to click his fingers and spawn you in a new finger, right? The same thing is with your mind. If you are suffering from severe depression, anxiety, addiction, life-controlling patterns, anything that is cyclical, seems to be getting worse, or you're making minimal progress in, you have to seek someone that is specialized in helping you through those things. There's a reason why you're stuck. It's not because you're incurable or that you don't deserve to be healed. You just haven't found the right guidance needed to help you heal from those things. Because it's one thing to regulate your emotions and be watchful of the mind and steer away from intrusive thoughts. But imagine a life where you didn't have to do that. It's not a life many people can reach, and I'm not going to fully say that I've achieved theosis, but as someone that was addicted to adult content for 20 years, quitting for 4 years, but every single day wanting to watch it and exhausting myself fighting those temptations, I can tell you life is much more peaceful when you address the reasons why you want to engage in those behaviors in the first place, so that the urges are less intense and frequent. I genuinely cannot remember the last time I had a genuine urge to watch adult content. It's been years. I've not had to suppress it. I've not had to fight. It's just not entered my mind. And I'm very grateful to God for that. But that doesn't come about, or it didn't come about just by praying or just by having conversations with my spiritual father. Those were major components. But coupled with the deep inner work, identifying the reasons why, addressing them in a way that is sacrificial to God. God, take this from me, not just magic it away. You have to face these things, okay? You have to search deep in the abyss of your soul where the demons lie and voluntarily face them, voluntarily let God in so he could shine his light on them and help you burn them from the inside. The mind and the soul are so deeply connected. You can't just heal one without the other. You have to do both. And it's the mind portion of this, the psychology, that unfortunately priests have just not been trained to deal with due to how rapidly the common struggles of man in the modern day have evolved. And I want to say again, this is not me disrespecting the church or priests or saying that any of this is bad. Please, if that has been the message you got from this video, I just ask you watch this again with an open mind. I would not be where I am today without the Orthodox Church, without my priest guiding me every step of the way, without deep, thoughtful, weeping prayer. I am never going to discount these things, but I also do not wish for people to delude themselves into thinking those are the only things you need to do if you want to escape your hell. Whether it's through me, whether it's through someone else, I don't care. If you want my help, message me. I'm happy to have a conversation, but I just want you to get the help you need, whatever that looks like for you. Okay? Please, if you are struggling, seek help from someone that is specialized in the struggle that you're dealing with. Do not delude yourself into thinking that just doing the spiritual practices is going to lead you to freedom from this. You have wounds that need healing, and there are people out there capable of helping you heal from them. That may be your spiritual father if he's equipped. I'm never going to say that no spiritual father can. There was a priest, there was a psychotherapist at the conference, for an example, but not every priest, not many priests are in that position. So please, once again, seek help. Don't just stay stuck in the cycle, hoping that God magically clicks his fingers and makes everything better because you've done a certain amount of prostrations or Jesus prayers. Whoever you are, I really hope you are able to overcome the obstacles you are facing in life. They will be for your strengthening. I know it may seem tough now, and it may even seem like God is just torturing you for no reason. But I swear to you, as someone that has been through his own hell and spiritual gauntlet and has made it through to the other side in a state of peace, living a life he never thought was possible, no one is too far gone. You can heal. You just need to take the right steps. May God bless you.